Welcome to the Goose Swan channel. So in my previous few videos, I discussed Deltarune's weird route and what it means for the rest of the game. In specific, I discussed my belief that the weird route is a way to, in essence, speedrun a path into the shelter, and that we need to do that because in the normal route, we will arrive at the shelter too late to stop some kind of tragedy. In my last video, I dove deeper into what I believe that tragedy will end up being. But in this video, I want to delve right into the shelter itself, and more specifically, what exactly we'll find down there. And how I believe, once again, the answer lies in the weird route. But to explain what I mean with that, let's recap what happened in this chapter's weird route again. After a few chapters of us, the soul, through Chris, corrupting Noelle, making her more susceptible to our commands and showing her another path besides the one she feels locked into in life, she snaps. Noelle leads us to the hometown lake, regales us of how our behavior has changed both her and her perspective on life, how she wants more, how she wants to be free from the constraints of society, how, if we tell her, she feels like she can do anything. And so she asks Chris to tell her to proceed. And if you tell her to, she proceeds. She takes Chris by the hand, and together they sink into the lake, one footstep at a time. But the events that take place in this weird route scene aren't exactly what we're here to discuss, not right now, or not yet. Instead, I want to discuss something a bit more metatextual, like, for example, the song that plays just before this scene. At first glance, this song doesn't seem that dissimilar to the one that plays during the festival in the normal route, though a tad bit slower and perhaps more melancholic on purpose, as this scene is very bittersweet. A great tone setter for this weird route segment, but not exactly a piece of groundbreaking evidence, right? Well, that is until we look at what this song is called. Happy Town. UTDR newcomers, no disrespect, might not recognize the significance of this song name, and even a lot of diehards might not. But those who have been paying attention to Undertale and its more mysterious elements since its release will know exactly why this name is important. But let me explain. In Undertale, there are these events known as fun events. They are known as such because their occurrence depends on your game's randomly assigned fun value, a value that is assigned at the start of a playthrough, but one you are never informed of unless you go digging in the code. One of the rooms you can run into if you have a specific one of these fun values is the sound test room. In this room, as the name suggests, there are a few unused songs that can be played, presumably to test the sound. Specifically, there are 4 of these songs. Gaster's iconic theme that has become an important piece of leitmotif evidence for a lot of the game, Meat Factory, Trouble Dingle, and, well, Happy Town. This version of Happy Town sounds nothing like the track we eventually got in Deltarune, of course. I can imagine, as a musician, if this song was some kind of test for a vibe Toby had imagined in his head, and that the DNA of this Happy Town sort of lives on in the eventual Happy Town we got. But that is nothing short of complete speculation. I mean, it's not an unknown phenomenon. Sometimes you just have an idea for a song and then it kind of changes into a different song until eventually there's nothing left of the original idea you had, but it does owe its DNA to that original idea. It's just kind of a thing that happens with the creative process. What's important here is that there is a song called Happy Town at all. This is what originally got my wheels spinning in the direction of this theory. This song, Happy Town, points at some greater importance to the sound test room itself. Perhaps that these songs are indicators of things to come. Gaster's theme certainly was, and now with Happy Town, a pattern is starting to emerge. Now we just need the other 2. Wait, can you play Trouble Dingle again? This has long been speculated to have been the demo/first draft for the sound that plays when we make weird route decisions in Undertale. And I think with Happy Town finally showing up in the weird route nonetheless, I think this makes even more sense. So far, the two sound test songs that have shown up in Deltarune, actually shown up, not had their leitmotif used, have both shown up in the weird route. And that brings me to the only conclusion I can come to regarding that final song, Meat Factory. I think this is the strangest one on the list, obviously, at least when it comes to that name. Trouble Dingle of Silly makes some sense. It's a dingle, nonsensical homophone of jingle, for when trouble is abound. Happy Town and Gaster's theme make a lot of direct sense. They are words that make sense in a normal way. Happy Town plays in a town that is happy, sort of, and Gaster's theme is the theme of a character called Gaster. It checks out. But Meat Factory? What the hell does that mean? It's at this point that, while I was working on this theory, I came across this post proclaiming a very similar theory on r/Deltarune. As an aside, this is kind of my favorite type of theory video, where the theorist just plays a bunch of clips with ominous music over it, maybe some text, and by the end of it, you feel like you've been MK Ultra'd. Great example of this style is the Half-Life theory, The Borealis is a Lie / The Citadel is a Gun by YouTube user Squared Eyes. It's just a really cool style. I love it, and shout out to SuperCobster123. Great theory. While I'm not on one page with everything the theory posits, I do agree with one of its primary conclusions, that whatever is below the lake, be it the shelter, the depths, or the Goner Maker, it's the Meat Factory. And it honestly might be all three. Let me explain. Again, the Goner Maker sequence, as you might already know, is the first thing we experience in all of Deltarune. It is the scene at the beginning of the game where presumably Gaster speaks to us and helps us create our vessel. The term Meat Factory here would be incredibly apt. We are, in essence, creating a human puppet to serve our purpose. This is the factory, the vessel is the meat. The shelter we've discussed before in a previous theory, and it's the bet I've hitched my ride to. I personally believe the weird route is a hastened way of getting into the shelter dark world, which is where the game's finale will ultimately take place in some degree. But I don't believe that necessarily invalidates the Goner Maker point. Whatever the shelter dark world is, I think it is this meat factory, and I think the meat factory is this world's equivalent of the True Lab. It's Gaster's secret, or not so secret, laboratory. It's been pretty much accepted that the voice speaking to us in the Goner Maker sequence at the beginning of the game is Gaster. So the Goner Maker being in his lab or whatever makes sense. Then we can also make the connection of the Goner Maker being at the bottom of the lake. The Goner Maker takes place in a place fans have dubbed the depths, which we can tell from its background, a repeating wave-like texture. And waves are the correct term here, created from an image of the sea. The depths have a deep connection to water, which is even obvious from their name. Taking this further, we can pull in the fact that at the bottom of a body of water is often complete darkness, as the multiple layers of water above it absorb all the light from the sun, the prime place for a dark world. Or something even darker. Something darker than dark. So in essence, that's what I think is at the bottom of the lake. The Shelter Dark World, the place where Gaster created the vessel and did all of his other freaky Gaster stuff. And that one Gaster follower is stopping people from snooping and digging too deep, which is why he killed Onion San and turned them into little balls of fried dough. And I also think he did it as a show of force to Chris, or maybe to us. A message. Stop digging, or else. But for what? While I don't have an answer to that yet, I have been deeply thinking about what the end game of Gaster, or whoever is the true mastermind behind everything, is. Why all of this is being done. And it's taken me to one of Toby's main inspirations behind these games, SMT-free Nocturne. And if you want to know how Shin Megami Tensei factors into my Deltarune theories, consider subscribing or even supporting the Patreon. I also recently released a song called Beach City DE, so consider checking that out. And with that said, I'm out. Peace.